Hi, so welcome to our Easter meditation, and I've put up a picture that I took today when we were out on our one form of exercise today, and obviously I'm really lucky because you can see that we were out and about in the countryside. And I don't know if you've had time to read the blog, so if you haven't had time to read the blog, then that's on the website julieleone.com. But I really just wanted to not only meditate, but also just have some time just to think about what Easter means and how that links into this weird time of COVID. So just first of all, Easter obviously is a Christian tradition, although various other religions across the world also celebrate this time. And predating Christianity was the pagan festival of Ostara or Astara, which is where we get the word estrogen. And Ostara was a goddess, of course, with the word estrogen. And she was linked to Pan, who was the male god of fertility. So she was the female god of fertility. So first of all, it's kind of quite a female time because it's all about eggs and new life and fertility. And I guess that's why I chose these pictures from today's cycle ride, just because there's a mother with her 13 ducklings, we counted, and then those lambs have mothers in the background. And I think for me, we know that spring is a time of new beginnings and new birth, and we look around and we can see, I took pictures of bluebells today, and there's primroses out, and the birds are singing, and everything is lightening, isn't it? The mornings are lighter, the evenings are lighter. And so it's really easy to feel like, okay, that energy of wanting to come out of hibernation would be the natural thing to do at this time, to kind of, expand our wings, stretch our wings, shake off the cobwebs of winter. And we've had a very wet and cold winter. And yet here we are with COVID, where we're all in the house. And so I was just thinking about, well, how do we square that circle? But then as I was kind of thinking about it more deeply and just looking into nature, of course, spring is the time of new birth. And if you look at those tiny ducklings and how close they're staying to their mum in that picture, it's because when we're born, we're completely vulnerable, As you know, human babies are, wouldn't survive without adults around them until, I don't know, how old do you think? 30 maybe. But and ducklings obviously stick with their mums, lambs are going to be with their mothers, and so it's that sense of actually maybe it's okay that we are nestled in a bit at the moment, because actually the urge to throw ourselves into life sometimes in springtime means that we can kind of leap a bit too quickly. Whereas this time we've got a chance to just kind of nest and to see what's growing, to see what's coming, and to allow ourselves to be those little ducklings that are just taking it easy, keeping close, keeping secure. And that for me is what this time is for many of us. Now, obviously, there's many people who are also out working and in the NHS and the police and those sorts of places. So the sense for them is, I suppose the theme for this meditation is just giving ourselves as much tenderness and self-care as we can, whatever our place is at this time, whether we're doing our bit by staying at home or whether we're doing our bit by staying in the world, but to allow our vulnerability and our fragility to be there. And I think, there's a lot of storytelling about the hero, and I'll write a bit about this on the blog next week. And we love a hero, don't we? The archetypal, strong, brave, immortal hero. And it's so easy to project those fantasies of being saved onto key workers, onto people in the NHS. And it's really important that we maintain our perception of their vulnerability and our vulnerability, and to allow all of those feelings of fear and loneliness possibly, and worry, to be there, because it's a really natural response to this situation. And so rather than kind of toughing it out and, we've got to be strong, we've got to push through, which, I kind of get that. And I know that's what the Queen was saying, and that's the message from government, we can do this. But actually, there's a lot of fragility around, there's a lot of vulnerability around. And from a kind of meditation, sort of Buddhist point of view, which I suppose is where I learned a lot of my meditation, and a bit of Sufism and a bit of Hinduism, Sanskrit meditation, yoga meditation, it's less about pretense and more about actually just allowing our feelings and our experiences to be there without feeling that we have to be any different, to really kind of sink into that softness of feeling like a chick in a world where we don't really know kind of what is safe and what is not, and just allowing those experiences. Because when we allow those experiences of vulnerability and fear and nervousness and worry, but also maybe just rest and connection with family, and kind of, I notice that everybody's really slowing down and wondering how they ever did all they did in their everyday life. And actually that's where we're going to connect more deeply, not only to other people, but to ourselves and the world. And so this meditation is just going to invite you to kind of tune in to your newness, because when we do hatch from the various nests or the various workplaces that we're in, we're going to have the potential to enter the world differently, to be changed by this experience in different ways. And some of the ways may be ways that we wouldn't have chosen, and some of the ways may be ways that we are hoping to choose, that we're becoming more conscious that we want to choose. And with those individual choices of who we want to grow into, that's how we can grow into a different world. And I think many, many people are talking about many of the things that have changed. The air is clearer, pollution is clearer, the world is starting to heal itself. We now know that we don't need to go on long business trips. We can do things from our computers in our own home. We don't need to buy as much. And so these sorts of things are things which I think a lot of people are hoping they carry forth with them into the new world when we step out. But this meditation is about kind of being aware of what's budding in us, being aware of what's stirring, being aware of what's growing, and just letting ourselves be the fledglings and the lambs, very tender, not allowed out yet, but that doesn't mean nothing's changing and nothing's growing. So if you just want to find yourself a comfortable way of being for the meditation, so either sitting so that your lungs are open, which doesn't mean that you have to be sitting bolt upright, but trying not to bend over and squish them. Or if you want to lie down, that's also great. And then just gently allow your eyes to shut. And just take a few mindful breaths. They don't necessarily have to be deeper or longer, but just noticing and feeling the breath. And anyone that's been following these meditations will be aware that meditation is not something that we're going to ever be good at, that we should strive to be perfect at. Meditation is the process of keeping your attention, or trying to keep your attention onto one thing, and to notice any distracting thoughts or feelings or itches or sensations or noises outside or noises in the house, and just to allow them to be in our experience without having to try and push them away or be irritated by them. So really, if people are distracting you, or people are wandering in and out and you're wishing they weren't, just allowing those things to be part of your experience and then letting them go. So I just want you to really come into your breath. And by that I mean just become aware of it. Just notice where you feel your breath most in your body. Might be as it crosses your top lip, or your nostrils, back of your throat. You might notice it in your chest or your lower belly. So just become aware of the place where you feel the breath the most. And let your attention hover. And your mind will inevitably wander off into thoughts of, am I doing it right? Worries maybe. Just gently bring it back to actually feeling the breath in your body. And then we're going to use the chakras as part of this meditation. Now, some people have an adverse reaction to the idea of chakras because they think it's woo-woo. And that's fine. For me, they're a way of focusing our attention. And they're a useful metaphor. So take them as it best fits for you. If you are used to thinking about chakras and energy centers, or if you prefer to see these as metaphors, then just allow whatever meaning makes the most sense for you. And we're going to bring our attention into our root chakra. And our root chakra is at the bottom of our spine. And it's the part of our body that connects us with the ground. So you might notice it as you're sitting or as you're lying. There are roots. And this is often associated with the kind of material world, our physical needs for food and shelter. But what we're going to do is just focus our attention on the area at the base of our spine. And just become aware as you're breathing of any sensations, tingling, tightness. And you may have no sensations. You may feel something. But we're just imagining and picturing, if it helps you to picture your spine. Some people like to picture their spine, sprouting roots, taking you deep into the earth, really planting you solidly. And if that works for you, just with every out breath, imagine the roots pushing down more deeply into the earth. And as we become more rooted and more aware of this base chakra, just allow your mind to play with the question, what is new in my material needs? What is budding? What is changing in my material needs? To do with money, to do with home, to do with food. And just be curious, just see what floats up into your awareness, whilst keeping the breath coming and going through that chakra, the base chakra at the bottom of your spine. And if nothing comes to mind, then let that question hover. It may come later today, tomorrow, weeks, months. And then gently easing your attention. If you picture an area about 2 fingers widths above your pubic bone, and this is the chakra associated with sexuality, sexual power, particularly important at Easter time. It's where our womb sits. So just becoming aware again of that area and how it moves with the breath. Keeping your attention in the movement of this area, just at the very bottom of our abdomen, in the cradle of our hips. If it helps you to picture your womb or a nest or an egg in that area. And then the question here is, how are my desires changing? What's growing or changing in my passions? And this area, again, is often associated with creativity, not just creating life in terms of a new life, but creating new ways of living, new ways of thinking, maybe new things, new skills, new crafts. It could be painting, drawing, art, but it can just also be the creativity of living. So allow the question of what new do I want to create to hover and nest in this area, and let the breath come and go through it, and see what arises in your awareness. And then gently moving your attention up to your solar plexus. So your solar plexus is the area where your ribs join your breastbone. And firstly, just breathe into that area again. Just notice how the breath moves and changes the solar plexus. So the solar plexus is at the top end of your tummy. It's just, if you press between your ribs, it's the joining point. So just picture and feel the breath coming and going there. And if you want to imagine the breath actually entering and leaving your body from your solar plexus. Noticing any sensations, thoughts or feelings that arise. And then the solar plexus is associated with power, our own power, our empowerment. So it could be power over, but more often it's power to, empowered to. And I think there's more women than men on the call at the moment. So power is an interesting concept at this time. We've got lots of the institutions of power, people relying on them, the government, and yet also that tension of vulnerability and loss of power, loss of control. So just allow any feelings that come up from either feeling powerless or empowered. And just let the question hover. What is new in my own power? How am I embracing power differently? What new ways of understanding and using power am I seeing taking bud, maybe fluttering their wings? So just being curious about your own power and your own powerlessness, and notice what's changing, what you'd like to be different, and breathe into that. And then moving up to your heart chakra, just over your actual heart. So just become aware of how the breath is moving your heart. You may be able to feel your own heart beating. And so the heart is obviously a metaphor for love and connection. And we know that actually the heart has its own intelligence. We've all had the experience of feeling your heart contract when you're frightened or really sad, and feeling open-hearted when we're connecting. And you can actually feel that in your body. So as we breathe into our heart area, you may want to picture it as a heart or a flower opening. And the question to allow to hover above your heart chakra is, what is new for you? What is blossoming? What is changing in how you love? And what love means to you? In the importance of love in your life. And just let that question hover as the breath comes and goes over and through your heart. And then moving your attention to the base of your throat. So in the clavicle, the soft area at the bottom of your throat, this is the throat chakra. So again, become aware of your breath and how it affects your throat chakra. You may be able to feel the air as it passes through the inside of that area in your throat. You may notice sensations, tinglings, the passage of air. And the throat chakra is associated with communication, our ability to speak clearly, to speak our truth, to speak in ways that people may hear, and also when not to speak. And so as we hover over this chakra with our awareness, the question we might ask it is, what new needs communicating? What are the words, the thoughts, the feelings that are growing in you to be expressed through the spoken or written word, through movement or art? What is finding expression and communication through you that maybe hasn't been expressed so clearly or at all before? And also, what needs to be expressed less? What are the kinds of communication you may want to just let stay in the nest rather than flying out into the world? So as you breathe into that area of your throat, just wondering what wants to be communicated, what wants to be quiet. And then bringing our attention up to our third eye, so it's the area between your eyebrows, just slightly above them, where Indian ladies wear their bindis. And just notice if you can feel any sensations as you breathe. Some people like to picture the breath coming and going through that part of their body. Maybe you feel sensations on the skin from the air in the room or the breath in your body. And so this part of your body is associated with insight, wisdom. So insight into yourself. What are you seeing new in yourself? You may have insights into your relationships, into your work, into your way of life, insights about the world. So just hover and be curious here about what new wisdom is hatching. It may be fragile, it may be new, it may still need a nest to look after it, but what wisdom is growing in you? And then bringing your attention to the top of your head, the crown of your head. Imagining that this is the place where you connect to the divine, to the wider world, to nature, whatever speaks to you. But just start to feel and notice whether you feel any sensations in your scalp, where your crown is as you breathe. And some people like to picture the breath coming and going through this part of their skull. And so this chakra is associated with connection to that which is greater than us. So for some people it's a particular God, for some it's the divine, the spirit, for some it's the earth, Mother Nature, for some it's just the air, wider people, wider community. So whatever that means to you, connection with something bigger than ourselves. And the question to let hover here is just what is new in the way you want to connect more widely. And if you feel a sense of connection to something to do with spirit, the divine, nature, the world, what might that connection be growing for you? What's budding? What's hatching? And then because we're fragile and we're still in the nest, and spring is a time of vulnerable newness, of not knowing exactly what's in the big wide world. If it works for you to picture a white light, maybe like a ready brick glow all around your body, maybe like an egg. Or if that feels too strange, then just noticing how your body feels with every breath. So if you're picturing a white glow or a white egg, picture it circling you, encompassing you, making you feel safe, cushioned, nested, allowing you to feel vulnerable and tender, and fragile, a bit lost and unsure, maybe excited and curious to get out. And if you're just in your body, allow those sensations as well to be all present. And let's allow ourselves as we go forward from this meditation to remain in the nest for as long as we need to. We've all grown up before. We remember how eager and in what a hurry we were to grow up, and now we have. And so this time, this spring, let's remind ourselves there's no rush, that it's okay to not know, it's okay to be young and unsure, but full of potential and full of life. And so know that what is important from this meditation, you will remember. You might want to write it down before you go back into your world and the rest of your house, just to capture some of the new things that are growing. So now let's start to come back in to our bodies. So taking an inhale through the nose, and then exhaling and sighing it out through the mouth. In time with your own breath. Big inhale through the nose. And exhaling it out through the mouth. And one more. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, keeping your eyes shut. And just spend a moment before we open our eyes in appreciation. The things we appreciate in ourselves at this time. The things that we appreciate in each other. And those around us physically or connecting to us electronically. Maybe appreciations in our physical health, our material needs, our house, our beds, our food. And maybe appreciations of the wider world. And maybe of the life we've led. And then just set an intention for yourself going forward. What small things can you do to be even kinder to yourself? Because when we're kind to ourselves, it's much easier to be kind to everybody else. So then bringing your hands up over your eyes and opening your eyes behind your hands. And moving your hands away, down towards your lap, or down towards the floor if you're lying down, and then look at, as you open your eyes, greet the world with the eyes of a new baby, the eyes of a lamb, the eyes of a chick. See things anew. Namaste means the light in me seems the light in you. So thank you for being here on this meditation, and have a lovely Easter. There's more meditations if you want them on the website, so that's julieleone.com, and the Facebook page is www.julieleone.com on Facebook, and you can connect with me by signing up for the newsletter, or just dropping me an email from the website. And yeah, obviously I'm still coaching, but thank you for being here, and many blessings.